This is the day 14 recap of the sugar diet, sugar fasting experiment. It's been a full 2 weeks since I've been on this thing. So we're going to talk about that as well. Recapping yesterday, day 14 was an eating day because it was a workout day. So I did have my post-workout meal. Prior to that, I had gotten some juice, some cranberry pineapple juice with some sugar. I don't think I really ate anything up until I worked out. I think I had another juice with sugar, kind of like a pre-workout, just to get some sugar in right before the workout. So I did that. Had the workout in, got a decent workout, had my post-workout meal shortly after. Results from today, as far as weighing in, I gained 0.3 pounds, gained a third of a pound back. Not as much as I thought I would, because I did resume sugar fasting later on in the evening. I had the meal around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And by 6 o'clock, 6:30 or something like that, I was ready to eat something again. I didn't want to do any more starch and protein, but I went back to eating on the sugar fasting protocol. So I ended up eating some sorbetto. I remembered that I had some of that Talenti sorbetto. I had some sorbetto, and then I also had gummy bears. I had a couple handfuls of gummy bears, and actually the second one I kind of grazed on kind of into the night, which I probably shouldn't have done that, and we all kind of know that we shouldn't do that, but I did, and it is what it is. But the scale this morning was, in my opinion, a little bit forgiving. It was only a third of a pound. I really expected it to be almost a couple of pounds, but it was good. But before we get into my 2-week review, I'm senior. These are my senior moments. Thanks for those of you who have been following me over the last couple of weeks. Make sure you hit that like button, share the videos out, and subscribe. So, my reactions for a full 2 weeks on the sugar fasting / sugar diet. I still think it's a cheat code. I still think it's easy mode for weight loss. There is nothing quite like it other than maybe a dry or water fast. It's just a lot more fun. Honestly, it's just a lot more fun and a lot more easy to do than just taking in water or not taking in anything. Overall, for the 2 weeks, overall weight, I'm down 5 pounds. At the most, I was down 6.8. And so I've gained some of that back. And again, a part of it has been the second week toying with adding the meal in there and adding the starches and proteins back in there post-workout. If you remember, the first week was my deload week. So I really took the week off, which is not like me. Usually in my deload week, I'm just going a lot lighter. But the first week being the deload week, I really took it off to give the sugar fasting part a real fair shot. And I did the sugar fasting for the first, I think it was 3 or 4 days. And that's actually when I saw the most kind of loss after that. You definitely see the most weight loss after multiple days of sugar fasting. The meals, when I put them back in, they mostly were post-workout. I think I had some events in there at that time, but for the most part, the meals were kept under about 30 grams of protein. Maybe at the highest, it might have been 50. And around 110, 115 grams of carbs. I'm sorry. Let me back up. 30 grams of fat, 30 to 50 grams of fat was the max, and then 115 grams of protein was it. We're doing carbs the whole time. Anyway, so that wrong notes there. We'll definitely use this sugar fasting and the sugar diet as part of the overall nutrition strategy, I think, going forward. Like I said, I've done intermittent fasting for a while, for a long time. And this, when you're fasting and using the sugar part of it, it just makes it a whole lot easier to stick to. I'll most likely stick to some kind of structure like the Smelly Protocol, which I talked about yesterday. If you need to go check out Mark Bell, I think I'll link that video. I'll link his video again on this one, where he kind of outlines what that Smelly Protocol is, right? It's 2 days, 2.5 days of fasting. So day 1, day 2, you're sugar fasting completely. Day 3, it's a half a day of sugar fasting, and then you are taking in a meal in that second half. Day 4, you're back to sugar fasting. Day 5, you're back to sugar fasting. 6, you are doing the half day thing again. And then Sunday, or the 7th day, he actually has as a cheat day. Now, you can cycle that in however you want, but again, that's what he has kind of outlined. And again, it's probably more of a sanity thing on that last day anyway, but you probably have to take that and tailor that to however you want. So my advice for anyone that is wanting to try it or thinking about trying it or whichever, and your mileage may vary. Again, this is just my experience and my thoughts. Should you start it? Why not? Why not? Give it a shot. You've probably tried a bunch of other things, right? You've probably tried keto and carnivore and vegan and vegetarian and pescatarian and, full fast, total complete fasting and all those kind of things. You've probably tried all those other things. So why not try this? 1. 2, if you're knocking it, if you are speaking out against it, if you have a skepticism towards it, don't knock it until you try it. So, and I've said this before, if you're going to knock it, at least try it so that you can come from a place of experience, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what the results you actually get. So again, if you're very skeptical about it, I get it, but I wouldn't be outright knocking it unless you can actually speak from a place of experience. I would start with a couple of days at least of straight sugar fasting. 2, maybe 3 days if you can do that. That is when you're going to see probably the best results and the fastest results. And you want to get that win so that you can continue on. There's probably nothing worse than, trying something and utterly, or is it not, and that doesn't go right. And then you get discouraged. And then you basically say, well, that didn't work for me and I'm not going to do that. Give it a fair shot. Give it a couple of days, give it 2 or 3 days of straight sugar fasting, see what happens then, and then move on and continue on with the program, or continue on with, maybe moving into a sugar diet protocol or something like that. Although candy sounds great, try to stick to those 6 things that Mark Bell had talked about. Fruits, wet, dried, and canned, honey, syrup, sugar, and juices. Candy at the very end. Try to get your sugars from those natural sources first and try to fill up on those. Try to eat things that are dense in sugar versus the volume. Watermelon, for example. I didn't do any watermelon on this because watermelon is just water to me. You can eat a ton or you can eat a bunch. There's a whole bunch of it you can go through, but it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't fill anything for you. So choose those things right. But again, eat what you want as far as the fruits and things that you like. You just need to know that the density is going to carry you further on through the day between your meals. Try and stick to some kind of a focused meal plan. Maybe it's the 3-4 meals a day or whatever, but try to do something like that. Try to do like the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and try to eat all those calories and that density in those things, and try to avoid grazing through the day. I mean, it's nice and easy. It's nice to do that. It's easy to do that, and you can do that, and you probably will make some kind of progress by doing that. But try to stick to that kind of general plan that we've all been, kind of talked about or taught that breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and or four meals, or whichever the case may be. Try not to eat late. I don't encourage that. I've done it a few times on this, and I have a bad habit of doing that, and I probably do that more often than I should. But when you're going through those other programs and plans, they tell you, stop eating at a certain point. Maybe it's 8 o'clock, maybe it's 7 o'clock, whatever the case may be, then stop. But if when you know you're going to do that, eat dense at that last meal. Now, I have heard people talk about that they can get some sugar in and all these kind of things in right before they go to bed and they get great sleep. Sleep has not been a problem for me. It never really is a problem for me. So I'm fortunate in that way. So I didn't have to use it that way. I think I still have been getting some pretty decent sleep. But, try not to be, my advice is try not to eat and then just go straight to bed. But again, you probably will hear other things about that. The last thing that I will probably say is just make sure you get in your water. The hydration part of it, I think, is still key to get in throughout the day, just to kind of keep things moving. You're going to be taking in, especially with the fruit, you're going to be taking in a lot more fiber. And so you want to make sure that you keep everything kind of moving through the system. You're going to find that you're going to either get, a lot of people will end up in the bathroom more, definitely probably a lot more gas, things like that. That comes with the territory. And so just something you're going to have to be aware of that you will experience. I think, that's really it. There's probably other points that I probably should make or need to make, but I can't think of them at the moment. So if you think of them, if you have questions, if there's something that I didn't cover that you're curious about, drop it in the comments. Let me know. I will respond to that. If there's enough of that kind of stuff, then I'll just make a kind of a response video about that as well. But that has been the 2 weeks. Is it the end of it for me? No. I'm just kind of, it's a good point to just kind of cap off. It's been a full 2 weeks. I'm going to continue on. Today's a complete sugar fasting day for me. Tomorrow's going to be a workout day with a meal and things like that. But now that I've done the full 2 weeks, I'm going to try to, I might modify some things as I need to. But again, the plan is pretty simple. The plan it works, and it can work. So you just have to be able to fit it in to your overall plan. Again, this is a tool. The sugar fasting and the sugar diet is a tool in your toolbox for your nutrition strategy and plan. Figure out how to use that tool. Use the right tool for the job. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I would encourage people to try it. And I wish you the best of luck. If you do try it, let me know if you do try it, if you are on it, if you are doing it. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what your experience is. I'm always interested to hear that. So until next time, I'll see you.